Have you ever wondered why the most brilliant ideas are born under constraints? Why is it that when we have fewer resources, less time, and more obstacles, we suddenly find unconventional solutions? Think of Steve Jobs. When Apple was just starting out, the company couldn't afford huge development budgets. This lack forced them to seek simple and elegant solutions, which eventually became Apple's signature style. Or consider the iconic movie Jaws. Director Steven Spielberg didn't have enough money for a realistic shark, so he decided to show it as little as possible. This constraint not only saved the budget, but also made the film even more suspenseful because viewers feared what they couldn't see. Constraints are not a dead end. They're a catalyst. When you have fewer options, your brain works harder, seeking alternative paths. This is called the scarcity principle, the idea that limited resources drive creativity and efficiency. Here's a real-life example. In the 1940s, during World War II, Britain faced a severe metal shortage. To sustain production, companies began using alternative materials and even invented new alloys. These innovations not only helped win the war, but also laid the foundation for future technological progress. Why do constraints work this way? First, they reduce decision paralysis. When you have 1,000 options, making a decision is difficult. But when you have only 3, you act faster and bolder. Many successful entrepreneurs use this principle. Mark Zuckerberg, for example, wears gray t-shirts every day to avoid wasting time and mental energy on choosing clothes. Second, constraints force you to focus on what truly matters. In the 1970s, NASA engineers faced a challenge: how to send a spacecraft to Jupiter with minimal fuel. They devised a technique called gravity assist, using the gravitational pull of planets to propel the spacecraft, a method now used in most interplanetary missions. How can you use constraints in your own life? Create artificial limits. If you have a week for a project, try finishing it in 3 days. This approach pushes you to work faster and more efficiently. For instance, many writers use the Pomodoro technique, 25 minutes of focused work followed by a short break, to boost productivity. Limit resources. Many successful startups begin with minimal budgets, which forces them to find creative solutions. Twitter, for example, started as a side project within another company. Limited resources compelled the team to focus on the core feature: short messages. Look for creative tension. The great director Christopher Nolan fundamentally avoids the use of computer graphics, relying on actual filming and special effects. These limitations give his films a unique style and realism. Turn weaknesses into strengths. In the 1960s, Volkswagen launched the Think Small campaign, highlighting the compact size of the Beetle at a time when Americans preferred large cars. This move made the car iconic and transformed marketing strategies. Constraints are not obstacles, they're tools. The next time you face a lack of time, money, or resources, don't ask, "Why is this happening to me?" Instead, ask yourself, "How can I use this to my advantage?" Because hidden within constraints lies your greatest superpower. And remember, the less you have, the more creative you become. Constraints and discipline, two sides of the same coin. Interestingly, constraints not only enhance creativity, they also foster discipline. For example, many successful people use minimalism to boost productivity. Consider the writer Ernest Hemingway. He adhered to a rule of writing no more than 500 words a day. This limitation helped him maintain clarity and avoid burnout. When you set limits, you create a system. This system transforms chaos into order and helps you achieve results even when motivation wanes. Studies show that people working under time constraints often complete tasks faster and more effectively. Practical steps to create productive constraints. Set time limits. Establish clear deadlines, even if they don't exist. For example, if you want to learn a new language, aim for 15 minutes of practice daily. It may seem small, but over time, it leads to significant progress. Limit decisions. Reduce the number of decisions you make each day. Plan your meals or wardrobe in advance to conserve mental energy. Minimize tools. Use fewer tools but master them thoroughly. Instead of juggling 10 productivity apps, Choose one and become proficient in it. And finally, don't wait for perfect conditions. The greatest ideas and achievements emerge not when everything is ideal, but when you work with what you have. Embrace constraints as your secret weapon, and you'll see how they can become a springboard to success.